Well, it's a new year. Things are different in everybody's lives, I'm sure. Things are different in your life.
Yeah, I've been real sick.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Back to back.
Back to back. I ended last year and started this year sick as a dog.
Things have been very different for me.
Yeah.
And hey, both these movies are, I'll say, topical.
And how? Are they? Which one's topical for me? Which one's most topical for me?
These ones both hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about me, though? Chris, what about me?
I don't know.
You know that old adage I'm always saying, Chris, what about me? I'm going to guess the Nope one, the alien one.
That one?
Spoilers, there's aliens in it, yeah.
Why do you feel like that one's a little more relatable for you?
A lot of running around mentally, just flopping and flipping in my bed. Feels like I'm looking for aliens.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
I feel like I had a cold open, which would have started already, that I really wanted to throw at you. Hold on. Okay, I found it, and then I remembered, I realized it's not good enough for the show, and it was just something I'd ask you in casual conversation, but I'll ask you it now. Let's say you direct a movie. Just Pie in the Sky, alternate universe. Chris becomes a director. You direct a movie. You direct your first picture. You're sitting there in the theater. Movie ends. Black title card comes up that says directed by.
I go, whoa!
It says directed by. You go, oh, I'm 11 rows back going, boo! It should have been me!
Yeah.
And it says directed by. Do you want it to say Chris Crumley?
No.
Christopher Crumley?
No.
Or Christopher Michael Crumley?
None of those.
What do you want it to say?
I've always wanted to go the P.T. Anderson route, C.M. Crumley.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, Nick Johnson is just kind of boring.
Yeah.
So I think I would go I don't know, Nicholas Winding Refn, or
yeah.
I never remember which one's first, but yeah, I think Nicholas Alexander Johnson would look better.
Yeah.
But also, I think I was writing something, said written by, I think Nick Johnson would be nice.
Yeah.
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 You would still go C.M. Crumley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For both, yeah.
What about your obituary?
All right, Chris M. Crumley.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I want mine to say
Christopher M. Crumley.
I want mine to say vagrant.
Here's just says
Vagrant found dead. Okay, so let's talk about Nope.
Yeah. This is a movie you're gonna have to walk me through a little bit.
Okay.
Because you made me watch it in a terrible state.
Mm-hmm.
Not made me. It was good. It was a good
I
distraction.
was gonna say, I specifically remember asking you and you
Yeah.
going, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But I did like it. It's just very disjointed in my noggin.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Nope, 2022. R.I.P.
Rest in peace, 2022. The year of our Lord 2022, yeah.
Did you know that chimpanzees you see in movies and on television are all child actors? I don't mean human children stuffed into monkey suits. I mean that chimpanzees in showbiz are all under 8 years old. You know why? Because in order to get a chimpanzee to act, you have to manhandle it. So when a chimpanzee gets too big and strong and realizes it can defend itself, they either have their teeth knocked out or they get sold off, usually to zoos or research facilities. Sometimes they are sent to sanctuaries. But it's for it's tough for them there because after being raised around humans, they don't know how to interact with other chimpanzees. So hear me out. Maybe we could try stuffing kids into monkey costumes. Stuffing some human kids into these monkey costumes. That's an 8.5 out of 10. I was reading about this. Could be totally bullshit because it was on Reddit. But it was like this thing where they're talking about this experiment that they had tried where they were like, what happens if we raise kid next to monkey?
Ooh.
Does monkey catch up to kid? And they had to shut it down because no kid returns to monkey.
Yeah, of course it does. That's so good. Oh, God. Yeah, because, Chris, are you telling me if you had the option to return to monkey, you wouldn't do it? I'd do it in a heartbeat. If someone was like, hey, dude, I know you, listen, ahead of you, taxes, jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your history of with Nope? Because I mean, you got mine a second ago.
I did. My history with Nope is I saw Get Out when it came out by Jordan Peele, who directed this film. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Us came out. I went, I'm gonna get around to that someday, and I never did. And then Nope came out, and I went, ooh, I'm gonna get around to that, probably in the theaters, and I didn't. And I kept going, I'm gonna get around to that one day, along with Us, and I didn't. And then, like I said, been sick as a dog. I've been sick as a dog, so while I had COVID, I watched Nope. I really, really enjoyed
You
it.
still haven't seen Us though?
Haven't seen Us, though.
Okay.
I'm gonna get around to it one of these days, though, I promise. And I watched Nope, and I liked it so much, I watched it 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because I rented it, and I was like, this is my last chance.
Yeah.
And I watched it twice, and I just kept thinking about it. And then a couple days after I was free and clear to leave my quarantine for having COVID,
Yeah.
I went and bought Nope. I watched it again. And I was like,
What captured you so much about it?
I don't know. There's just something about... It's just one of those movies where there's nothing inherently cool about it that I can point at. You know, there's not someone who I'm like, this person in this movie is just cool, or like, this person's really interesting, or this is really this, or this is really this. But the combination of everything in this movie, like just the mundane nature of having, I guess, a horse farm. Yeah, and on top of that, oh, they do it for movies. Oh, that's cool. Oh, they're also related to the horse jockey from the first thing caught on film. That's cool. Oh, also there's an alien. That's cool. Also, it's not really an alien. Or it's not really a UFO, it's an alien. Oh, that's cool. It's just all these like little things on top of each other just come together to go, oh, just all in all what I think of Nope as a whole. I'm like, this movie's just good. And there's so much about it that I liked. I was confused by some of it the first time. Every time a movie confuses me a little bit, I'm like, I think I like that movie.
Yeah.
And then I watched it a second time. I'm like, oh, I think I like a little bit. I know a little bit more about it. Or I think I get the chimpanzee thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Or I get this, I get this. I was telling you earlier, don't get why the alien looks like a cowboy hat. Not sure I ever will.
Yeah.
But
what you're talking about with all the cool stuff like compounding, it reminds me of this is something I half remember, but it's the whole thing with I think it's Vertigo. No, not Vertigo. North by Northwest. I don't know if it was like every like 10 minutes or 10 pages or whatever. They basically set out to like intentionally just do the opposite of where they were intending to go.
That's cool.
Like the exact opposite kind of a thing, you know. So yeah, much like your your example of how like, you know, there's just all these little things that like, oh well, what if this? Oh well, what if this? Oh well, what if this? Right?
Yeah, that reminds me of like and I've never been in a writer's room. I've never written a TV show or a movie or anything like that. But it sounded strange to me. Like that's not how you would normally go about it. But I was listening to a thing with the writer's room from Breaking Bad, and Vince Gilligan was talking about how like. I can never remember. You saw Breaking Bad yet? Remember the scene where him and Jesse are in the junkyard and they're in the RV and Hank is outside? Mm-hmm. They were talking about how long they were stuck there because they would just write themselves into situations like that, and instead of being like, let's go back and like change it because I have an idea so it can go this, they would just get themselves stuck in that situation like that.
Yeah.
And be like, how do we get these two out of here? And like would stay there on weeks and stuff like that. So like part of the fun of that show and watching Walter White like work his way out of situations is so fun, I think, because it's like, oh man, this, not being able to say it because you don't know it when you're watching it. It's like, oh man, this guy has the brain of a writer's room that's been trying to figure this out for a week. Yeah,
that's a fun fact. It also reminds me, I've been reading this book called Patterns.
Rod Serling.
Yeah, Rod Serling. It's a collection of teleplays and also some of his musings on writing. It was a gift. It was a very thoughtful gift. And in the musings section, there's a lot of description of him talking about like television being like a like kind of an infantile like little baby medium, right? And one of the things he brings up, which is again something I'm aware of, but like it was just interesting to hear someone like just plain speak say, I guess. But he was just talking about how no other storytelling medium has to account for the fact that you're going to be stopped dead in your tracks at least twice every half hour.
Yeah.
So you have to think about where your story is going to end there, right? And so then he was just continuing that to talk about how they ended up having to deal in sentiment because that's the only kind of thing they can really have to grab an audience, and that's right, that kind of a thing. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it was a tough thing to. I've never really like I always think about the like, yeah, well, how do you keep them coming back next week, or how do you, if it's on cable television, how do you make sure they didn't have to be here last week and they don't really have to be here next week? I've never thought about like how do we get them past that 2.5 minutes of commercials.
Yeah, and there was another bit where he was laying out just that idea that like it's so weird that like there's no other medium also where like anybody was like really willing to do that, to like sit through a commercial to get to the other stuff or whatever. And just talking about the tension between like executives who see the commercial as the medicine and the TV is just sugar to get it down kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody is actually like kind of consuming it in the opposite sense. They really want that, TV
absolutely,
that they could give a shit about the commercial part. So anyways, very interesting, very insightful. Not Nope, though.
So Nope starts, monkey on a TV show eats a bunch of people.
Yeah, and we revisit this often.
Do we?
Yeah, they're always coming back.
Oh, I thought you meant me and you revisit this often.
No.
Like it's something we talk about quite often.
I mean, as a film experience.
It comes back quite a bit.
Yeah, that collective we keep coming back here.
And I loved it.
Well, what do you think the whole point of coming back to it so often is? The spectacle whole thing. That's something they keep referring to as I'm going to put some dirt in your eye and make you a spectacle.
Yeah. I think...
Is that a reference to something biblical? Is that one of those things that... No, it's not. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, there's a quote at the beginning. I can't remember what it is.
Bible, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, it's something about how like I'm going to put some dirt in your eye and make a spectacle out of you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure of what the overall, put it in a sentence, message or point of this movie is. But one of the things I picked up on more and more and like sat with me better the more I've seen it is the Gordy, the chip stuff. Because when I watched it the first time, I was like, I'm going to put this on. And it was one of those things where I started it and the monkey stuff, the title started happening and like there's the Monkey Paw Productions logo, which is Jordan Peele's production company.
Right.
And I went, oh, right, this is going to be a scary one. And I was like, oh, I wasn't ready for a scary one. Okay. And then it starts with the monkey stuff. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a bummer scary one, isn't it? But I think the point of the monkey stuff is... specifically with Stephen Yeun's character, Jupe, I think his name is. He, current day, with his attraction, what would you call that place?
Yeah, he's got some sort of sideshow attraction.
Yeah, like a little theme, like a Western theme park.
Yeah.
One of his big shows is he brings people out to like the middle of the desert, which is attached to the theme park, and he goes, hey, alien out here. I'm going to show you guys this alien eat up a horse. Which is why he's buying all the horses from, what is our main character's name?
OJ.
OJ.
Yeah.
He's buying all the horses from OJ. It's something I realized when me and you watched it, when he is selling him to Jupe, and he's just like, I'm going to buy him back. Don't worry. When he talks to Jupe, he's like, I'd like to set up we've talked about it before, but I'd like to like get in writing, set up the process for me buying these horses back. Jupe, Stephen Yeun's a little like thrown back or like, knocked off his balance. He's like, oh yeah, we can get that. I'm like, oh right, because he's sending him up into the alien. He doesn't have any of the horses anymore. And he has this like mentality of this thing, I can control this thing. This thing I have, people say it's hard, like just like the monkey, it's hard to control that thing. But after that monkey ate everybody, give me a fist bump.
Yeah.
Maybe I have something different. Maybe there's something that I can do just inherently where I can control this thing. I can make this wild beast a spectacle.
Okay.
And he can't. He gets eaten.
Yeah.
And I also
Classic King Kong.
Classic King Kong. I also really like, as they learn later in the movie, you can't look at the alien or else it'll eat you up. Just like the horse. Don't make
Just like Medusa.
Just like Medusa. Don't make eye contact with it. When the monkey comes over and gives him a fist bump and he's hiding under that table, the curtain, not the curtain, what do you put on top of a table?
Some kind. It's like a
tablecloth.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The tablecloth is covering the monkey's eyes.
Yeah.
Which means he can't look at him in the eyes, so that's why he's not attacking him. It's great. I love it. Say something.
All right.
I'm kidding. I can. Do you want me to do the plot on this one?
No, it's all right.
I can though, because you missed some of it. Or you think it'd be better if you
that's all right.
tried your best to do the plot and I fill you in. Okay, yeah. Chris, give me the plot the best you can.
Yeah. Up next, I believe we cut right to OJ with his dad, right?
And Keith David. Do you think this is the shortest amount of time an actor's been on screen and gotten the "and" credit in the opening titles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out, right? And they're just kind of having a dad and son moment.
Just business talk.
When suddenly nickels fall from the sky.
Just a bunch of metal shit, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of metal stuff.
Uh-huh.
Some kind of quarter type object ends
Believe
up
it's
in
a
Keith
nickel.
David's, in his head.
I always remember a nickel. You know why?
Yeah, why?
It's most of my name.
They go to hospital. Obviously, Papa don't make it. And OJ, just rip your heart out. Looks very sad. Still covered in his dad's blood.
Keith
Very
David's
sad.
got that chick. He's home.
Yeah.
Everybody's on set still.
Then I think it flashes forward like 6 months, a year or something, and he's on set
Yep.
with the horse. And he's not a very communicative guy. He's a very quiet and walled off and shy gentleman. And the crew there do not care for him as much as they liked Keith David.
Yeah, this scene's great. I love just everybody on set being their own type of unbearable and creating this situation of unbearable.
Yeah. And eventually, he's rescued from this uncomfortable social situation by his sister, M.
Keke Palmer.
Yeah. And
True Jackson VP herself.
Wow.
Do you remember True Jackson VP?
Nope.
It was a show on Nickelodeon starring Keke Palmer.
All right.
It was one of those shows on Nickelodeon where I was like, I wasn't watching it for some reason, and I remember thinking, well, usually if a show's on Nickelodeon and I'm not watching it, it's not going to last. I think True Jackson VP did not last that long.
Interesting. Well, she drops her link in bio during her little...
Just like Steven Yeun with the monkey, I think I can control Nickelodeon shows.
She gives them the rundown about the horse and how to treat the horse, and then also says, hey, link in bio. Horse freak out, though.
Yes, because everyone's too close to it. They put the reflective thing in front of it. It looks through a reflection into someone's eyes or something.
Yeah.
Does a kick.
Yeah. Kick something out of someone's hands or something. They lose the gig. Right? And I believe that's about when OJ and M go to Steven Yeun, right? Cause,
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And M wants to come up there with him, and he's like, yeah, not after you did the whole link in bio thing. And she's like, oh my God, the horse thing is a side thing. That's not link in bio. That's me plugging my main thing. Anyways, they go upstairs. And you're right about all the horse talk and the let's set up an infrastructure for one day me buying these back to you. But the other thing that happens is he's like, hey, you want to check this out? Usually I charge people for this. And then...
Yeah,
he's
they
got,
show the Mad TV cover with Gordy on the front of it.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh, that's in really poor taste. And then he opens up a room of poor taste.
Yeah, he's like, check it out. It's the bloody slipper of the girl that he got her face eaten by the monkey or whatever.
I love that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just the shoe standing up by itself. It's so weird and just so out of place. And there's no real reason for it. It's just something that your mind you just see it and you go, that just stands out. And for some reason, if you were him underneath that table, you're just like, no, that stands out. And I like that it's in a little case standing up still. It's just strange. I just like it because it's strange.
And then you get some pretty rock solid, like him going on about an SNL bit, and it's just not landing,
I
like his retelling. I think it's good. Especially like her ending it with like, yeah, I'll have to check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it's not played for a hammy laugh. It's just legitimately like that happens sometimes. That like someone is like, yeah, there's this SNL skit and it's legendary. And like you just haven't seen it and they're not giving you the joke part. They're just telling you about it,
Yeah, I love it. It's
and
great.
So you're just like, yeah, let's look it up on YouTube.
It's twofold. It's him because you see him like, well, the SNL skit said it better than I could ever tell it. They basically told you exactly how it happened. He's telling this exactly like you said. That's a great joke by itself. And then while he's talking about it, it just hard cuts to him as a kid underneath the table.
Yeah.
And then cuts back because he's lying. It was way more dramatic than that.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
And I think it's much later into the film, but I remember there was the point where the monkey like puts out his hand to fist bump him, and I was like, fist bump. And then I forgot that they fucking do fist bumps.
Yeah.
As friends, so when he fist bumped him, I was like, no way.
That's great.
But anyways, after this, I believe they return home, and M is in the mood to smoke and drink, I believe.
Should have got that hoppy weed. That's all you had to say. Love it. It's great.
Yeah. But Ruh-roh, there's some noise outside, I believe. And the horse named...
Ghost.
Because
he's all white. He's out in the arena, which I think is like out of a barn. Is that where you keep a horse? But still in like the little gated area. So he goes to check on him. I thought this was cool and also not at the same time. When he goes out there, I remember seeing it the first time and being like something about him looks weird. Like... unnatural, like CGI-ish, and I couldn't figure it out. Like they had like touched it up somehow. I'm like, I don't know what it is. And then I saw someone else I can't remember what it was. I was watching someone else online talk about it, and they're like, yeah, those scenes are day for night.
Yeah.
Like they look really like the best day for night you've ever seen, but it's still day for night. You can still tell he's standing in the middle of the sun.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Jordan Peele on a podcast talk about it, and like it's some new technology that they came up with for this movie. The cinematographer for this film, I can't remember his name, but they filmed the scenes with a normal camera in the middle of the day with an IR sensor camera, so like it picked up on all the whatever information it needed, so it could believably make it look like it's night. Because just out in the middle of the field like that, there's no way you can light that for a camera and make it look like that. So
Yeah.
I think
It's got to be pitch ass dark.
it's pretty cool. I mean, that would, with that in mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna allow the day for night. It looks as good as it can possibly look.
Is this technically a Western? I would say if it feels like a Western.
If it's in the desert and someone's on a horse, I'm gonna call it a Western. Yeah.
Yeah, sci-fi Western. No?
Sure. Just like
So-
Cowboys versus Aliens.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I was gonna say better Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to say your joke and I'll pretend? Like
So better Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have James Bond in it. With Indiana Jones? Is Harrison Ford in that movie?
Ford is
Yeah.
in it, yeah.
Is he the alien?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens at the end after Indiana Jones 4. He becomes an alien and comes
Yeah.
back and fights.
And Shia
James
comes
Bond.
out of his mouth, much smaller.
Yeah, a smaller Indiana Jones, i.e. Shia LaBeouf, comes out of his mouth. And then so I think M starts playing music real loud inside,
Yes.
and it spooks Ghost and he runs off.
Yes, and I know that OJ's like watching, and he sees like Ghost disappear, but he feels like he saw something.
Yes,
you know?
I do like that quick little, just the alien flying behind the cloud real quick, just like unnaturally fast and slow, fast and quiet. It's great.
Yeah.
The first time I saw this, I remember he like walks over that cliff and he sees all those lights and like hears that noise. I remember thinking like, what is that? Is that aliens? Is that aliens making sound?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we watched it the other day, which is like, I don't know, the fourth or fifth time I've seen it. I guess I just kind of was doing other stuff when that was happening on my rewatches.
Right.
I was like, oh no, that's Stephen Yeun. He's doing the show for other people and he called the alien over. That's why it's over there. He's feeding it another horse. It's great.
He goes home and says, "M, you're not gonna believe this."
Oh, real quick, a joke I really like is when she starts playing the music and it's too loud, and he turns around and starts yelling up to the house for her to stop, and it cuts back to the house and you can see her, she's just dancing inside and she can't hear him. And the horse runs away and he looks after the horse and goes, oh shit. And then you can hear her from the window go, where's he going? It's great. Love it.
Anyways, I believe he goes inside and he basically says, "M, you're not gonna believe what I'm saying to you, but I definitely just saw an alien, a UFO for sure."
And just my favorite thing in this movie is every time someone goes, we saw an alien, the person they're telling goes, all right, great, you saw an alien, I believe you, let's look at this alien.
Yeah. I don't know what they do then.
They have a conversation about it, and I think it might be they just talk about trying to get it on film,
For cash money and whatnot.
get the Oprah shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff.
like this is
Okay.
our opportunity, we got to take it. And then they go
Yeah.
to Fry's Electronics,
Right.
which I think, fun fact, shut down like 6 months before they started shooting Nope.
Wow.
Fry's Electronics doesn't work anymore.
Bonkers.
And they meet Angel.
Yes, they do.
He's a dick, and I'm like, God, I'm glad this guy's gonna be gone after this scene because
Yeah.
I don't like this character and I don't like this actor. And then he's in the whole movie.
Yeah,
I
first,
like him quite a bit.
Yeah, I do.
And I feel so bad for this actor that A, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
B, I haven't bothered to look it up. And C, he's not on any of the posters. There's so
Yeah.
many posters for this movie. Angel should be on one of these posters. That's great. I guess he doesn't have the star power of the three other main characters of this movie. But
Yeah.
put Angel on a poster.
But yeah, basically they buy very expensive cameras to monitor their ranch. It seems like very expensive cameras.
Yeah, Angel's like,
Very.
yeah, you guys get robbed, and they're like, yep, that's exactly what happened. You want me to help you come set it up? Nope, don't need it at all.
And I think Angel doesn't even need them to say UFO before he's like, "You guys are looking for UFOs, aren't you?"
Yeah, he says it to them while they're out there. So, you know, they don't call them UFOs anymore.
Yeah.
UOIs. I didn't even say letters there.
Yeah. But yeah, basically after they purchase them, he shows up at the ranch for the install. He's down bad in a bad way.
Sure
And-
is.
Yeah, sure is. For your relationship, and he says, "I know this might sound corny, but I thought she was the one." All I'm gonna say is too real. Let's keep going.
It immediately makes him endearing, and I like him.
Yep, it immediately
it's-
won me over. It's like I'm right there with you, buddy.
Like, as a complete stranger to come in and do that, it's just like, that's so annoying, but also it's
Yeah.
pretty funny, and
Yeah.
you feel for him. So
Yeah.
I like Angel immediately.
I do like Angel immediately.
And I like that he's leaving. He's like, I can, if you want, I can monitor your stuff for you for free if you want. And they go, no, thank you. Because it's like, I like him. He's just like, I would like to help you find UFOs, and I don't want any money out of it. And they're like, no, we don't want you to have free control over our footage that you can go ahead and sell. Yeah. He's like, okay, whatever. And I like when he gets in the car, he goes, oh, by the way, my supervisor's going to be calling you, asking you about my service today. And they go, 5 stars, Angel. Yeah. 5 stars.
Yeah. My man just needs something to do. He needs to keep his mind busy.
And then I think immediately it cuts to them at night trying to find Alien. Or Alien. Or
yeah, I think it's pretty tense. There's like the praying mantis on the camera, and so they don't end up getting anything. But I think the next day Angel shows up, and he's like, hey, check it out. There's this one cloud that does not move, you know. And then I think they have the epiphany moment of like, you know, something to do with like drawing it out or hiding, or it's not a UFO, it's a creature, right?
Yeah, I like that scene quite a bit. I like when OJ goes outside and goes, shit, I must have been looking at that. I think I've been looking at that cloud for about 6 months and I haven't noticed it, which is fun because 6 months ago, Dad died. Yeah. And yeah, that's when Angel brings up like, yeah, this doesn't act like a ship. Yeah. It acts like a maybe
giant hat.
Yeah. What if it's not? What if it's a giant hat? I think we skipped before Angel leaves. M leaves to go get that statue of a horse. Yeah. She steals it from Stephen Young, and then Stephen Young comes by. Love this interaction so much that they're just yelling at each other. Yeah. And I love while he's like, yeah, we got one just like that. And she's like, oh yeah, awesome. And I love while he's trying to get out, where'd you get? She goes, where'd you get yours? It's great. I love it. And then he leaves, and then that night, yeah, they leave it out for the UFO. UFO comes and picks it up, and so for a good long while after this in the movie, it just has the like ribbon that's hanging off the horse coming out of it, so you can always see it. Like, and yeah, it comes that night. It's like it's in the cloud, it's swirling stuff up, it's making a tornado. I didn't need to go back and say this part, but I am. And then back to where you were.
Okay, and I was. They just found out it's a creature.
Yeah, they think it's a creature.
So what happens next?
I think M is in her bed. She's watching some like conspiracy theory video.
And it comes back?
Some conspiracy theory video on her phone, and the lights turn on in the barn, and OJ goes to check it out.
Ah, there's kids back there.
Yes. This part really, really got me when I was watching it the first time. I was like, oh, right, it's a scary movie. And like when the first one like peeks his head out, I'm like, that's pretty spooky, and they all keep coming. But when it gets to the part where he's standing there with his phone filming it, waiting for it to come around the corner, every time I see it, I'm like, this is unbelievably long. This happens for minutes, I feel
like. It really does. It really does. That was a moment where in that moment, it was about to become a very different movie, I felt like. Yeah. In a very intense way. And then it just didn't do that.
But I liked it. It was
switch. Oh, yeah,
it was a bait and switch, but it was really scary, so I'm going to allow it. Just like the Day for Night. It's not something I normally like, but he did it pretty well, so I'm going to allow it. Also, why does OJ have a flip phone?
He probably doesn't even really like get service out there.
He's a country boy, I get it. But also, like the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, I get maybe this movie's set in like the early 2000s or something like that. Yeah. And then M has a vape, and then a guy on an electric motorcycle shows up. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I guess he's just a country boy.
Just a good old boy.
Good old boy. And then M comes out, and he's like, it was just those kids pranking us. She's like, oh, you didn't fuck with Haywoods, let's go get him. And he's like, you stole their horse. And she's like, that's a good point. Yeah. And the next day, you got any idea what happens next? Because I do not.
After the aliens thing, is it the scene where she calls the cinematographer?
It could be, because they could be having the conversation about how their cameras kind of suck, because the alien knocks out all the power when it comes by, and they get bugs on them all the time. Yeah. So yeah, that could be the next scene, I think. Okay. So they call the cinematographer from the commercial.
They do. Gruff man. Very gruff voice.
And where do we know him from, Chris?
Oh, we know him from a very specific place. He's the antagonist in the movie The Crow.
The Raven.
Yeah, set in Detroit. Devil's Night, baby. R.I.P. Brandon Lee.
R.I.P. Brandon Lee.
But yeah, the whole time I was listening to him.
R.I.P. the careers of the guys who played The Crow after Brandon Lee.
Yeah. Yeah, but the whole time I was watching, I was like, God, what a distinctive voice, and where do I know this? And I was like, oh my God, The Crow.
Also, we skipped over it. We're gonna come back. It's gonna become relevant soon. But she tells him that story about Jean Jacket, the horse, her horse. She was gonna train it and then it got bought for Scorpion King, so Dad had OJ train it.
Yeah.
And OJ's like, that was my first horse I ever trained, and it sucked. It was a bad time. You wouldn't have had fun. And then later, they call the alien jean jacket. What do you think that is?
What I think that is?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a little deeper than I'm about to, but it's just sentimental. Like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a jean jacket, baby. Don't call your sister baby, but you know what I mean.
Toots? Nah, not that either.
Not that either. Sweetheart? No. No. Sis. That's all
Okay.
you got. That's the boundary. The boundary is
Oh, you know what it is?
around the word sis.
You know what it is?
Huh.
They're going to train jean jacket together this time.
Whoa.
Whoa. I just figured it out. Blew this case wide open.
Yeah. All we need there is the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers.
Yeah, the
class.
handshake.
Yeah.
And they call the guy, and he says no, kind of.
Yeah.
He says, like, no, kind of.
Yeah, basically, no. Yeah. He says, I've got cigarettes to eat and footage of snakes eating foxes to edit, so fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, and then what happens, I think, next is you get Stephen Yeun. You see him doing the show for a bunch of people.
Which, spoilers, does not go well.
Does not go well, no.
It gets them all sucked up
Gets them all sucked up.
into the hat.
Horrifying.
Horrifying inside, too.
Seeing everybody inside, horrifying.
Just getting mushed up and ugh.
And like every time the alien comes over them in this movie, the power goes out, but also you hear that just like sound that it makes, and it's like, it's just such a weird alien sound.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh no, it is all the people still alive inside of it.
Yeah.
And then it eats all of them except for, funny enough, Lucky the horse makes it. OJ shows up because he goes there to buy back Lucky.
Yeah.
And he gets there, everybody's gone. It comes back, he falls over, bumps his noggin, gets knocked out, wakes up middle of the night. While that's happening, M and Angel are back at the house doing something. Don't remember what, but Alien shows up there.
I think basically what's happened is the house is just getting assaulted.
Yeah,
Right.
but why were they hanging out before? They don't like each other. Either way. Oh no, he comes by to check the cameras or something like that.
Yeah.
And the house gets assaulted. It starts just shitting blood and quarters and metal objects all over the place.
Good thing nobody's outside.
Great.
You need a
And
shower.
this might be my favorite part of the movie because it really, really, really bothered me watching it that I love when Jean Jacket comes over the house the first time when Kiki Palmer's listening to music and the power goes out, the music goes, like it slows down. It's like, okay, she's listening to a record player. That makes sense. It's going to slow down. Whenever anyone's on the phone or has a walkie-talkie and they're talking and the power goes out, they're like, you have to get in. I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
It would just cut off. That's not how that works. But when Angel is driving away and he's listening to Sunglasses at Night and it starts to slow down and then stop, I was like, there's no way he's listening to a record player in his car. There's no way it would work like that. Yeah. And then this scene happens, and they're all trying to get to that car, and like the car doors are open, and like the power's like half on in the truck, I guess. And so the score for this very tense, scary scene is Sunglasses at Night played at half speed, and it works so well. Yeah. And I'm like, I forgive it now. You're allowed to do this. Sure, it's an alien. Sure, maybe that's what it does to technology. I don't understand. It's great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think this is where OJ figures out or puts it together that you can't look at it. It's a wild animal. You can't look at it. If you're not looking at it, it's not going to suck you up.
Right. Well, the attraction farm run by Stephen Yeun, news is reporting on it because news has happened there. Mm-hmm. What news, you ask? Everybody getting sucked up into a hat. But the news doesn't fully know that. They just know everybody's missing.
Yeah.
Right? So Mr. Cigarette Eater finds out about that. And he
goes, shit, Kiki Palmer's telling the truth.
Yeah, and guess what? I also invented a film camera that doesn't take any electricity, so
love it. Favorite line in this movie.
I can just crank that Soldier Boy.
Yeah, it's my favorite line of this movie. Didn't I tell you this motherfucker was going to come here with some non-electrical shit? It's great.
So basically now this is like the final Home Alone third act.
Yes.
We're setting everything up and we're just going to run it out. They got a whole thing with like Mr. Cigarette Eater and Angel manning the cameras up in like a little canopy type whatever the hell, and M is like back monitoring the cameras, whatever, and OJ's gonna go out there with the damn horse to like lure him or whatever.
Yeah, I love that they steal all the...
Wacky wavy inflatable arm floating tube bins.
Yes, and then I love to power them. They steal all the batteries out of the cars
For the people
at Stephen Young's place. Yeah, because they're all dead.
And so basically here he does that thing where he pulls up his hood and has eyeballs on the back of it.
Because they're trying to get the perfect shot. He's going to do a run.
Oh, okay.
Because they want the...
I thought that was something that he had done rogue style.
Nope.
Like he was like, nah, I'm breaking. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I'm
So
going Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, exactly. So they know where the alien's coming, so the cinematographer can get the shot. So it's not.
Right.
I love it because the whole plan is just like, we don't want grainy security camera footage.
Yeah.
World's best cigarette eating cinematographer is going to come here and get that beautiful shot. And I don't like what ends up happening to him, but I like him kind of mentioning here and there, like, it would have been better if we did this in like an hour when it was the golden hour. You know, we had like good light, but I guess we're going to do it now.
Yeah. TMZ gentleman shows up on an electric bike. Mm-hmm. He's being a prick, obviously. Par for the course. Gets hurt bad. OJ wants to save him. It's not in the cards, though. And then Cigarette Eater also does a weird thing. He starts talking esoteric or whatever. I don't know what the fuck he says, but he's basically saying, like, time to get the shot of a lifetime. And he, like, willingly almost gets sucked up, basically, to, like, get a nice shot of the alien.
I don't fully understand it, but it has to relate to the spectacle, dirt in your eye part of this movie. Because every time we see him and he's working at his house, he's watching documentaries of like animals killing each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I guess just the sentiment of a documentarian getting too close to animals and nature and stuff like that, and getting kind of greedy in order to get the good shot and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe that's the lesson of this movie. Just keep animals out of movies.
Yeah.
Just leave animals alone, maybe.
Yeah. But ultimately,
he gets sucked up.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, we could go beat for the rest of it. There's, some action stuff happens.
Lots.
They pretty much end up with nothing.
They get the shot. It's really good, but then Jean Jacket just goes sicko mode and just starts sucking up everyone and everything, and like even like getting houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He sucks up the cameras and destroys all their footage.
Right.
Angel is getting sucked up and then thrown back down, sucked up and thrown back down. So he's busy doing that.
Yeah.
The alien turns from the hat into like the big sheet, bunch of sheets coming out.
Yeah.
It's got the little square thing that comes out that keeps like flipping. And I like that too, because the opening credits are that thing, and it's just slowly zooming in on that with like everyone's names in the little black spot in the middle, and then on the inside is that footage of the guy on the horse. I like that because I remember watching the opening credits and being like, I don't know what this is. Is this like the top of like a barn or something like that? I don't know what it is, but I like it. It looks nice, and it sticks in my brain, and I'll probably never think about it again. And then when the alien opens up and that thing comes out, I went, oh.
Yeah, basically they escape with their lives and none of the fame or fortune.
Or
perhaps
do they? Because
you don't know. She gets the little picture.
They are like a standstill, and OJ's like, he does the eye to her thing that he did with Jean Jacket, and he runs away, so the alien chases her, and she runs away on the electric bike that TMZ had. She does the Akira slide into Stephen Young's theme park. She lets the balloon go, so the big Stephen Young themed balloon, so that Jean Jacket will go after that because it has eyes. And then she remembers, that well I looked into earlier in the movie that was taking pictures, I can take a picture of the alien with this. And so she picks up off all the change on the ground that came from all the people getting sucked up and the alien spitting it all out. She starts just putting the money in there and just trying to take pictures until at the last second it eats the balloon. She takes a picture, she gets it, and then it blows up because the balloon pops inside of it, and it's done. And then all the news crews and stuff come. Or were the news crews? No, the news crews had to have been there.
The news crews were inside of us all along.
Okay. But do you think they were already there, or they just like all happened to show up at the same time? I'm guessing they were all already there, but they couldn't use any of their stuff because it's all electric. Well, but the big crank camera isn't, so that's how she got it.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I got it. I killed the alien. And everyone came. She's like, cool, I got my Oprah shot, and none of these fucking people did it. Great, but oh man, I wish my brother wasn't dead. And then it cuts to a very Western shot of him under the out yonder sign, and the smoke clears up, and he's just there on the horse, and then it's over.
Yeah.
It's great.
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 I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We do letter grades on this bad boy, Chris.
Okay, solid B.
Solid B?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a solid A.
Nice.
I like this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, I think my current ranking still goes Get Out as my favorite Jordan Peele joint.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good. This is really good. I like this.
Have you seen Us?
Yeah.
No.
That's just going to be third place.
Okay.
Us is okay for me. I'm okay on Us. But I like this a lot more.
Gotcha.
I think maybe I even like it more than Get Out. Get Out. I don't know. Like I said, this is a movie I probably have to watch a couple more times. But I feel like I retained a decent amount of it. I like a lot of it for aesthetic value, and there are things that I enjoy about it. It's just going to take a couple more viewings for me to.
Yeah, I get that.
Know. What about you? You got any closing thoughts? Any statements you want to make as the curtains fall?
That boy Jordan can make a good movie.
Yeah, you gotta go see Us now.
I do.
Yeah.
I did. Also, side note, he was on Kojima's podcast. I was like, oh, this is very exciting. Kojima's like, I like Nope a lot, and that's whatever, because Kojima likes lots of movies. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then Jordan Peele's like, hey, here's a bunch of like deep cut Metal Gear shit that I always have loved and always really think about. I'm like, oh god, that's so cool. If I'm being honest, I heard that, and that was the main reason for me to go, I gotta see Nope. God, this guy's cooler than I thought it was. I gotta see Nope.
Well, I watched one other movie this week, though.
We did. We watched Annie Hall.
We did watch Annie Hall. What year did it come out?
1977.
Wow. Who directed it?
Harold Ramis? No, Woody Allen.
Wow.
Hold on.
Who edited it?
I think Harold Ramis is also a Jewish man, so I don't want that to be mistaken as the joke I was making. I was directed by Woody Allen, Chris.
All right. And I have a little letter right here.
You do.
With my name on it. Not Eating Soup Alone. It's for me specifically. This was written to me. A review of Woody Allen's 1977 film Annie Hall by Nicholas Johnson. Hey, you sent one in for once.
Not Nicholas Alexander Johnson. Nicholas Johnson.
Sly dog.
So if I'm directing a movie, it's Nicholas Alexander Johnson. If I'm writing a screenplay, it's Nick Johnson. If I'm writing a review, it's Nicholas Johnson.
All right, Annie Hall, 1977. I started watching Seinfeld these past few weeks. I've been putting that off for years, but a friend convinced me to give it a shot, and I gotta say, I really enjoy it. My only complaint, however, is I feel it's a touch 90s, and I don't really despise Jerry as much as one human could possibly despise another. After expressing this to my roommate / best friend / creative partner, Chris, he suggested I watch Annie Hall. I'm not really sure out of 10.
Chris, what's your history with Annie Hall?
I think it was a movie that I may have only seen. It's definitely a movie that I bought it at Second Charles. It may have been with my most recent partner that happened, or a little bit before that. What's my history? Let's just take it from the top. I've seen it a couple times throughout my 20s. There's a place pretty close to us called Second and Charles, which I think is kind of like the second and like almost like it seems like a play on like second hand.
Yeah.
Because everything in there, well, a lot of things in there is second hand, but it's just any kind of media.
Never thought about that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's any kind of media, just a bunch of movies there, a bunch of books.
A bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I love taking people there. I love
great.
going there, and it's I mean, a lot of the movies we watched on DVD, I mean, I got those DVDs at Second and Charles, you know?
Yeah, they're always like, hey, do you want a cardboard box full of 1,000 loose DVDs for $13? And I'm like, absolutely.
I did that for a partner. It was 50 DVDs for $25.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all, no. Anyways, and yeah, it's a movie that I have always liked and had a soft spot for. And I'm always surprised when I watch it again how much more I like it than I think I do.
Oh yeah,
is how I'd put it. I wouldn't consider it one of my favorite movies necessarily. It'd probably make a top 100 list maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's influential and yeah. What about you? You just watched it, I think, for the first time?
Yeah,
correct?
no, I've always kind of always heard about Woody Allen films, and I've always stayed away from them because, you know, obvious Woody Allen reasons. He's married his stepdaughter, and he's one of those directors, and his films are those things where people are always talking about how, like, yeah, you really, really have to separate art from artist on this one, and I think we've talked about this on the show before about how that's a person-to-person basis of can you separate the art from the artist. That's if you can, great. Sometimes I can't, and that's just how it works. I think it's just a personal basis, and I don't think you're allowed to I mean, I think there are definitely cases where you're allowed to not like that. If you're like, I mean, guy's not bad, but Mein Kampf's a cool read. I'm not cool with that. But I think after watching this, it's like, oh yeah, this is so the fabric of so many things that are so big today that I understand how this is still relevant and people are still recommending it and watching it and stuff like that. And I enjoyed it. I liked it fine enough. Movie's only 90 minutes. It felt like 3 hours, if I'm being honest. It took so long for me to get through this movie. Yeah. But besides that, I like bits and pieces of it here and there. I took notes while watching it. I wrote down some lines and stuff I like that, but it didn't really like leave a huge impact on me. I do like that it's not a bummer, really. Like when you think about a movie like this, about like a relationship start to finish, and I like how it's told out of order and stuff like that. But like when it's over, it's just like, yeah, and then it was over, and then we caught up, and then that's that. Hard credits.
Yeah. Woody Allen in this movie, I think his name is isn't it like
something Singer, Artie Singer.
It's like RV Singer, Alvy.
Alvy, yeah.
Alvy Singer. I think it's Alvy Singer. Sex Pest.
Yeah, that's one of my notes. Woody Allen really do be a sex pest, huh?
Yeah. This man is sex obsessed. And he opens up with a little monologue about how, old Groucho Marx or whatever, or Marx Brothers like joke about how I would want to belong to any club that would have me as a member, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Though, boy, does that sum up this character.
Yeah. I do love, there's, like I said, there's a lot of like quotes I wrote down that I really like. But the first one I wrote down, I arguably love when it's him and his mom talking to the therapist, I believe, about how depressed he is because he read. And he's like, yeah, it's the universe is infinite. And just keep expanding and expanding and expanding, which means one day it's going to expand to the point where it falls apart because it can't expand anymore. And his mother goes, what is that your business?
Yeah.
Like, that's so... It's so funny. It's such like a funny, like hard response. Like, oh, mom. Like, of course, mom would say that, but also like when you think about it for 4 seconds, it's like that's the healthiest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Yeah,
that's not your business. Who cares? That does not concern you at all.
Yeah. To be fair, and this is about the time that I realized this viewing. I realized, at least I don't remember realizing beforehand. There's a joke in School of Rock. That I guess is a reference to Annie Hall, or maybe even earlier. I don't know. I'm not older than 26, so if this is an older joke, I don't know.
I mean, technically you are, but go on.
But
26 and X amount of months.
But they say no, whatever. Those who can't teach, gym or whatever, which is something that Jack Black says in School of Rock.
Yeah.
So, anyways, when we finally catch up with adult Alvy after. All this stuff about him being like, I was a nervous child. People say I exaggerate my childhood or whatever, but I slept underneath a roller coaster or whatever, we meet Annie and Alvy seemingly towards the tail end of their romance when like they're starting to annoy each other, get on each other's nerves. And he suggests perhaps she's on her period, which is something he revisits a couple of times.
My biggest thing with this movie is he is just the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I think even in parts where you're not supposed to think he's the worst, he is like when they're like just starting to talk to each other and she's obviously very interested in him. The way he's making her laugh and the way he's making her making conversation with her is he is just straight up insulting her to the 10th degree, to the nth degree. Every chance he can get, and she thinks it's so funny. And I'm like, this sucks. I hate watching this.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, it's a problem I have with Seinfeld as well. He dates so many women in this movie. Like, I guess like a normal amount, like if you're like going through like, these are all my relationships in my adult life, that tracks. And in Seinfeld, it's like, well, it's the point of the show. So everyone's dating a new person every episode. There is no way. It makes me so upset that every woman Woody Allen dates in this movie is just the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. It's like there's absolutely no way Woody Allen's pulling. He had to marry his own stepdaughter, for Christ's sake. There's no way he's getting women.
Yeah.
Also, something I realized, I think I came to a realization while watching this. Him and I think it's like his ex-wife. I don't think it's Andy. It's like one of the flashbacks. They're like having sex and then they stop because she hears the train and like she can't. She's like, I lost it. And she's like, where are you going? He's like, to take another one of many cold showers. Chris, is taking a cold shower a euphemism for cranking your hog?
I don't know. I always thought it was an actual cold shower.
Yeah, me too. And then I was thinking about it, and like I remember in a TV show, like a running bit throughout the episode is characters have to go take cold showers. Like something will happen in the episode, and they'll strike out, and it's Scrubs, I think. It hard cuts to a character in a shower going because they're cold. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, that just seems like a TV friendly way to show somebody beaten off.
Yeah.
So is that what it is?
I don't know. It's either that or an old wives' tale that somehow makes you not.
Yeah, I didn't know which one it was.
Blow.
Yeah. Could it be both? Could it be that it is an old wives' tale and now people say it instead of...
Maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. You got to do some research. But basically what happens is they're 2 minutes late for the picture, and Alvy says, nah, ain't no way I'm going in there. Cannot do that. We've already missed crucial information. So... they decide, he's like, why don't we go watch The Sorrow and the Pity again, the Nazi documentary? And she's like, we've already seen it, kind of a thing. And just like earlier, you start getting kind of shorter, with a partner towards the tail end. I mean, yeah, I can also relate to just like, hey, let's go watch the thing we've seen. Mm-hmm. No need for new right now. I just need comfort.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do love later in the movie.
Trap to fall into.
Like hour later in the movie. I can't remember if it's him or her, or him and someone else go see that movie again. They don't like make a big deal out of it. It's just a real quick flash of like how they're seeing the Nazi documentary again.
Yeah. And also when they break up towards the tail end, he says, I saw Annie the other day with a guy or whatever, and they were going in to see The Sorrow and the Pity. So
yeah.
I'm gonna take that as a win or whatever. But anyways, they go to another theater to do this, and that's when you get the whole film critic in line bit. Where he's just going on, and it's great. And his, and he has the actual author that like the guy was like talking about, our screenwriter or playwright or whatever it is.
I got him right here.
Nothing of
It'd be great if life was like this. Is that what he says? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure exactly when that happens in relation to this next thing, but the thing that stood out to me next was when he's mid-kissing, I think, Allison, who is the woman he married after like doing that like political rally, and she's like the coordinator or whatever. Yeah. They're like making out or whatever, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't. And she's like, what is it now? And whatever. And he's like, I mean, according to the official coroner's report, JFK was shot in the back of the head. It's
great.
Basically, you can't. Him, the sex pest, can't have sex because he's thinking about the JFK assassination. It's very funny to me. Very, very funny. Otherwise, I have very few things written down, to be real with you.
Yeah, so do I.
Another very famous scene is him and Annie having all that fun cooking the lobster.
Yes, I like that scene quite a bit.
Yeah, I like that scene quite a bit too. Made me cry. Moving on. They go through the whole thing where Annie is teased for like the boys she used to date, kind of a thing.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
What? I was young. This was 6 months ago.
Yeah. Which is something you still see in things like Scott Pilgrim and 500 Days of Summer.
Mm-hmm.
They play a bit of doubles tennis.
It's one of my notes I wrote down. Annie's post-tennis fit, off the wall.
Yeah.
So good.
One year, my ex-partner never went as Annie Hall, but dressed like that.
Okay.
Badass costume.
It's great.
Yeah.
Just love the hat. Love the tie.
Yeah.
Such a good fit. Never seen anyone dressed like that, especially in the 70s.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's almost Charlie Chaplin.
Almost, yeah. I love when they go to her family. When they go to her family's for dinner. Weird that Christopher Walken is her brother. But I love.
It's got a great scene.
He does, but
Sometimes I'm driving at night.
Yeah. Aren't you
yank the car
into the oncoming traffic?
Yeah.
And then later, aren't you going to take him home? Nah, I don't want to have the brother take him.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But I love when they're talking and he's talking about his family and how they're like oil and water and they'd never mix, and then it like becomes a split screen where his family is having a conversation in one scene with her family, but they're two different scenes. Like they're two different places, but they're having the same conversation. And I like that because it feels very much so like if I was thinking of that, if I was thinking of this person having a conversation with this person who would probably never meet, like that, in my head, they would probably be in two different rooms, if that makes any sense, just I don't know how you or how I don't know how you or other people work, because they say the thing about how like you either have like a monologue in your head going all the time, or you just have weird amorphous thoughts or pictures and stuff like that, or sometimes you have both. I have both, not to brag, but when I do that, yeah, it's usually like that. If I picture somebody, I usually picture them in like a specific place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that. I'd never seen that in a movie. I'm like, that reminds me of my thoughts. That's strange.
Yeah. But anyways, they're playing doubles tennis. They have some awkward small talk. She gives him a ride. She's not a very good driver. They're back at his place, or her place, I mean. And this was the next thing I had written down that stood out to me. Her little narcolepsy story.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole thing about it. She's like, she goes down to the uni hall because he gets a free turkey every Thanksgiving or whatever, but he also has narcolepsy. And so he fell asleep standing up, and he fell, and he was dead. Isn't that just awful?
Oh, she's like, yeah, he has, what do you call it? Narcolepsy? Yeah, he just falls asleep in the middle of the sentence, the whole ham story. And then he's standing there, and he falls asleep in the middle of the line, and he never wakes up. He died. So good. Also, just, again, like, I can't express enough just how much I hate this character in this movie. They have that awkward small talk, and it's all just her very, very much so like, I'm really into you.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk to you, and I'd like to get to know you. And him just the whole time being like, oh my God, I don't... What do you want? What? Okay, yeah, you can give me a ride home. Why'd you ask me if I had a car if you have a car? She's like, all right, bro. Out of here.
Yeah.
Do we get to the part yet where he goes on a date with Shelley Duvall?
I can't remember exactly when that happens, but it's not that important. We can talk about it. What do you have to bring up about that?
I wrote down... I didn't know Shelley Duvall was in 2 movies. I don't think I've seen Shelley Duvall in literally anything else besides The Shining. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've never seen Popeye, so yeah, I just don't think
she's been around.
I know now. I know now. Yeah. And then Stanley Kubrick destroyed her mind, and so she's not in any movies anymore.
But yeah, she shows up. She's very funny. She's talking about like, I covered the Dylan concert last week when he said she feels just like a woman, and she cries just like a woman, and she tries to, like, she's just doing that for like way longer, like with so much emphasis. Very funny. Very funny. But I think that's the night where he gets the call from Annie, where she's like, oh my God, it's an emergency. And he gets over there, and it's just a spider, and, you know, he kills it or whatever he has to do. And then she just breaks down, and she's like, we should give it one more go, kind of a thing, you know. And they have sex, and they lay in bed, and they talk about let's never break up again, you know. And
I like it because he gets there and he sees like, oh, she just went to a concert and she just did this. Clearly she was on a date with somebody. He's like, well, why wouldn't you get that guy to come kill the spider? And she's like, can you please come kill the spider? And then later she's like, did you have someone at your house with you when I called you? It sounded like you had someone at your house with you when I called you. He's like, nah, the TV was on or whatever. And then after that is when she's like, clearly she's jealous too as well as he was, and she's like, we got to get back together. Like, I feel like her calling him wasn't her like making an excuse to see him. She literally was like, I would like Woody Allen to come kill the spider and then leave. And then he finds out, when she calls and she finds out he had summer with her. Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm in love with this guy. Yeah, it's like, no, you're not. You're just jealous. Yeah. So is he. And so they get back together.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes in the real world, those kinds of things work out. But as you've mentioned before, Alvy is not a good guy. So the rest of the relationship that we see is just him back to his old bag of tricks, you know? Just little things like, you know, she has the opportunity to record, you know, with Paul Simon or whatever. Yeah. And out of jealousy, he's just like, always like, nah, there's that other thing we got to do. There's that other thing we got to do. You know? And, you know, holding her back. And, you know, not good. Not that the movie has to, but that is definitely something that character specifically is not really addressing the obvious character flaws that the character has. Again, it's almost like, you know, one of those things where like, yeah, you're talking about a movie, like, you know, but this is also a movie with very almost like no, like, I would go so far as to say this is a movie with no character growth.
Oh, none at all. No.
Yeah. Alvy, it's a very, very self-absorbed. And they say it, you know, like, I think Annie says that to him, that, you know, because she brings up like therapy in relation to sex or whatever, and like he's like, oh great, you know, whatever, and she's like, you know, your egocentric mind can't allow you to think about my therapy in any way other than how it affects you, you know. Anyways, all that stuff with a bow on top of it. Yes, they date for a little while.
I think we went way past it. I mean, it happens constantly in this movie. I like when he's upset, instead of like scenes of him like at a diner with a friend complaining about his woes or something like that. He's literally just walking down the street, talking to everybody, having one solid conversation with everybody that passes.
Yeah.
When that person walks away, he picks it up with the next person, and the next person, and
Yeah.
the police horse. I like that quite a bit, and it's what just a nice. I like.
Then it transitions to this no white thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
I
don't
like
have a period. I'm a cartoon.
when he's walking around asking people about like how they make their relationships work and stuff like that. Like when he goes up to the couple, he goes, "How do you guys make it work?" And the woman goes, "Well, I'm very shallow and empty. And I have no ideas and nothing to say." And he goes, "And I'm the same way." It's one of those. It's like what I like so much about watching Seinfeld currently. It's like just that classic like comedy writer thing of like, oh yeah, as much as Nick would hate to admit it, whenever I'm introduced to a couple, that's immediately what I think.
Yeah.
I immediately think these two people are so insanely boring and have nothing going on that they work together. And it's such an awful, horrible thing to think, and it's probably never true, but it's just, again, like the split screen. It's like, I'm like seeing something in my brain that I've never put the pieces together on happen on a movie screen. It's nice.
So now they're legitimately broken up. I know that there's a point where it flashes back to a previous relationship he had with a very like educated, like Ivy League kind of academia type woman, and he wants to escape this highbrow party to watch like a Knicks game in the bedroom, and he tries to make like a move on her, and she's like, "You're shallow and pedantic," or whatever. He's like, "Shallow and pedantic, what? Yeah, whatever." But basically, Paul Simon. You also should mention that like Jeff Goldblum's in this thing, Sigourney Weaver's in this thing, but. Yeah, Paul Simon, I think she's like out in the West Coast dating Paul Simon. And I think he flies out there to see her and stuff. Right? Or no, they're together for that bit. And they go out there.
Yeah. I think it happens around here.
Yeah.
Can't remember, but there's a point where they're in bed together. She says something along the lines of like, "Do you think we're in love, or do you think we're going to get married," or something like that. Such a shitty, shallow, and pedantic thing to say. Like a shitty, like fake smart thing for a guy to say to get out of being in a relationship. He goes, "I think we're both much too mature for something like that."
Yeah. But anyways, they do end up broken up. She goes to Paul Simon, West Coast, dates him, kind of a thing. Eventually, he's got the phone call where he's like, "You should come back to New York," and she does, and I believe he tries to propose to her. That doesn't work out. Anyways, he writes a play to try to get this all out of his system. And that's something I like, is that like in the movie that he actually it's like an adaptation thing. In the movie that he has actually written, it doesn't end perfectly. But he talks about, as the character, the play that he's made inside of the movie, how he ends it with them getting together, because that's something you always want for art, is you want the happy endings, because it doesn't happen that often in life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of like story inside of a story, that he gets to tell that story that he can't actually tell with the main story, because that would be a much different movie. Like, so the movie itself has to end
the way it
in
ends,
a real way, but he still gets to make that little statement about that urge, at least. Not that he doesn't say this is what you should do with art. This is just, he's just saying this is what you want to do as an artist, is you want to kind of get to that, happily ever after thing. And that's kind of Annie Hall. Yeah,
I like just overall the movie. I like the I guess I think it's a conversation they might have it at the diner at the end of the movie or something like that, when she says something like, "Well, no, I really enjoyed you and I liked dating you, and you got me to you got me to come out of my comfort zone, or you got me to start singing, and you got me to start, going back to school and stuff like that." And, that was nice, but, now that's, and it's very clear that it's like, oh no, he's just like, especially like with the scenes where it would cut back and forth to him being like, "What do you need higher education for? That's bullshit," because he's afraid that she's sleeping with her professor. And then it cuts back to him being like, "No, I think higher education is very important. I don't think you're dumb. I think you should just learn more." Yeah, very, very. I think the lesson of this movie is, which is like the hardest part of this movie for me, is like, I think the main point of this movie is that he's the bad guy, and he's like constantly sabotaging this relationship because he's so unbelievably selfish. But at the same time, there's so much that's happening in this movie where I'm like, I can't tell if I'm supposed to like you or not right now, and I can't tell how I'm supposed to ever feel about Woody Allen, because I just instinctively, as a knowing him outside of his movies, before knowing his movies, just don't like him. And yeah, I do. I always do really love that sentiment in movies, and it's why sue me. I like La La Land so much. The end of La La Land being like, it was nice. It was nice, and I think it was definitely worth something. But now that's over, it's over. And, sometimes it's just how life's got to be. And talking about it right now, yeah, I think I like this movie a little bit more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I get that. I've watched it a couple of times. I'm gonna probably put it in the A tier, just a straight A, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's respectable. I'm gonna give it a B-.
That's also respectable.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think there's anything else to say.
You gotta pick 2 movies for next week.
Oh, you're right. Gosh, what's your movie? Go.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I said that. I was like, man, I shouldn't be saying this right now.
Yeah.
Because we made that decision to do it so people can watch it before the next episode comes out. But then I have to think about it.
I did just see The Whale, so would it be crazy for you to see The Whale for next?
Feels like cheating on your end, but yeah, I could try to see The Whale.
Okay.
Watch 7 Samurai.
I don't know. I watch something that long right now.
Break it up. We don't have to watch it right now. You can watch it tomorrow, the day after.
Yeah.
Day after that, even. You gotta think about 6-7 days.
Yeah. All right.
You want to do it? You want to do 7 Samurai? You can say no.
It's your choice.
I can think of something else. I just got a bunch of DVDs, so I want to break them in. And 7 Samurai is the one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Want to do The Warriors?
Is that 3.5 hours? Is that what it is?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
I can look at it right now, actually.
Okay.
No, 7 Samurai is 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay. Then fuck it.
All right. So 7 Samurai and The Whale.
7 Samurai and The Whale next week. Tune in.
I was thinking about it. We were almost going to do The Whale this week with Nope. I was like, I think it's probably good that 2 white guys in their 20s with a movie podcast don't do 2 A24 films an episode.
And with that, I think it's time for the first That's That Mattress Man of the new year. So that's that Mattress Man.
Hold on, Mattress Man. I think I changed my mind. Instead of 7 Samurai, which is very long, what about Elephant Man?
Sure.
Been trying to find an excuse to watch all these David Lynch movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
We can watch 2 movies about men being very meanly called the name of an animal.
Yeah.
We can call it Whale-Elephant Man, the episode. It's great. It writes itself.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
So correction, editor's note.
Editor's note, we're watching The Whale and?
Elephant Man.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
So now the second That's That Mattress Man of 2023. That's that Mattress Man.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,